So treadmill,
Elliptical.
elliptical, cool.
I got to multitask here.
Well, that's a nice way to do it.
Helps the juices flow.
That's for sure. Yeah, I just came back from lunch. Had this
Nice.
short rib grilled cheese.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Unfreaking believable.
I've been having such a craving for short ribs. I was thinking that I'm going to be making them soon. They're such like a cozy winter meal.
Definitely. Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, on a grilled cheese. That sounds delicious.
It's out of
Hey,
control.
folks.
So are we waiting? Is John going to be on too?
John's right there.
I'm here.
Hi, John.
Kelly, did you get a new Peloton for Christmas or something?
I have an elliptical that's like one of those pull out. I've had it for like years. And I was just telling Greg I got to multitask while I have the opportunity.
That's cool. That's cool.
But it was perfect timing. We my husband and I have been coordinating as much as we can with Zooms and who's doing what, but he actually just passed out. So it worked out perfectly that I was like, I'm going to take the Zoom and jump on the elliptical.
Cool. It's excellent. So how are your Christmases? Are they good?
Really good. I mean, just so low key though, but it was kind of nice.
Yes, it was nice.
My brother was like, I wish Christmas could be like this every year. It was like no BS. It was like just us. It was like low key, no pressure. It was so nice.
Hey, you don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Nobody's
It was pretty great.
All your shopping is done online.
Yeah, it just gets delivered and you're done.
It was at my front door. It was amazing.
It was a wonderful time. How was yours, John?
It was good. It was quiet. It was good.
Yeah, you need quiet sometimes. Definitely. This is a very interesting one. Yeah, and it was my first one with my new girl, so that was really a lot of fun. And
How was the paddle racket? Did she like it?
she loved it. She loved it. She's playing with it
Nice.
tonight. So yeah, I got both of us Wilson ones. She got the ultralight and I got the blade. So they work great. But it's very interesting. It's such a fun sport. It's
It is
good
so
match
fun. I'll be treating
between,
myself to a new one next year.
yeah, well, it's a good thing between tennis and squash that you have the screen in the back to play off of. So it really is good.
It's nice to have a winter sport to like play it outside. Like I love playing outdoor sports in the winter.
Yeah, it's really fun. So I'm definitely enjoying it.
Nice. All right. So what do we need to get done today?
I think wanted to talk about SMSs, whether we need them at all, and how we use them. Text messages versus native notifications. And I think also we want to cover any other questions we have about the SRS. How we have to close this and say, okay, it's good to go. And I don't think we actually came to that conclusion yet. So I thought we'd have a quick talk about it.
Nice.
So John, first of all, Kelly and I had talked last week about text messages and whether they were necessary versus native notifications. And I think we both came to the conclusion that number one, probably is going to be the majority is going to be, for most of our members, will be notifications, and I prefer those, but they're going to be, people who just say, I just want texts. And there's some crazy numbers, like 90% of texts get read and 60% get responded to. So, and some people don't know how to respond to notifications. So I think it might be, it seems like it's something that we have to do. And the pricing doesn't seem that bad.
Hold on there. Hold on. I mean, people, it's not that people don't know how to respond to notifications. I mean, you just don't respond to notifications. Notifications, if you tap it, it takes you somewhere in the app.
Yeah.
So if you get a new notification that you got a new message or you got a new friend request or invitation to join a group or something, I mean, you tap it and it takes you right to that spot
right
within the app for you to deal with it, or potentially just takes you to a notification page.
Mm-hmm.
Right, opens it up more. Yeah.
the notification, which takes you somewhere in the app.
Right.
So that's just feedback on what you said there, but you know, I question the value of the SMS on a couple levels. One, it may not seem that expensive to engage an SMS provider upfront, but if you're going to have people respond to those texts, either you have to have then an AI system that can respond back to that request, or human intervention, which is more likely that someone has
I
to
don't
then
think we
read
need,
that text.
not to cut you off,
And-
John, I don't think we need, and especially, and I don't understand the costs yet, so I would definitely need to see those to really fully give my answer. I would say that we don't need the capabilities of responding. I do think it's important that we can notify people by text. But I don't think we need people to be able to reply to anything yet. The click and taking you to the app is
Okay.
fine.
I think also clicking to the
I
places
would
where it
agree with
will.
that in regards to the responses. However, let me tell you, my experience with this is, if I join UB Sports and I have your app on my phone, if I turn notifications off because I don't want your app to be pinging my phone all the time, like I go to Facebook and I turn off my notifications because I don't want to see them. I'll
Right,
log
same.
into Facebook when I want to see them.
Exactly.
If I turn those notifications off because I don't want to be bothered instantly whenever something happens, what the hell makes you think I'm going to subscribe to text messaging?
But I do subscribe to certain text message notifications. Like I proactively do. That I turn
With
off notifications.
something that you have an app on your phone,
Yeah,
so you'll turn notifications off on the app, but yet subscribe to text messaging.
yeah.
To me, that's a really fringe case.
Okay. I do it.
Yeah, I actually do the same thing.
I don't doubt that.
I know that when my texts come in, they're usually timely and more important. Notifications,
Listen,
I'll let sit on my phone.
Here's a silly question. Like, is this a big cost difference? Like, can we just have it as an option for the fringe people that want to do it? Like, how much does this cost?
About 3/4 cents per SMS.
Okay.
So
Well, I think there's an engagement cost plus the.
yeah, it's about $1,100 to totally engage the whole service. And then from then on, it's because it's $500 for the engagement with Verizon and those guys. And then there's to buy the 5-digit number, it's like $650. So it works out to $1,100 to sign up for.
For a year? Is that for a year? Is that a one?
For good. That's for good.
Okay, but your engagement with the service then, is that a monthly?
Yeah, it's got to be on a
fee? Is that
contract, I would assume.
I don't know the answer to that. I'll find out.
I think it's annual. Okay, so with that being said, maybe there's a way
Can I
to,
ask-
again, I would
Can I
assume
ask
people,
can I ask each of you for an example of an app that you have on your phone where you have turned off notifications from the app, but still get text messages? Just
so I have it
So
for my cable, so like my cable provider, for instance, and actually Greg and I were talking about this and it happened live, so it was pretty funny. I obviously have an app on my phone because you can watch TV through it and all that. I turn off all notifications from them, but I have a text system for when like there was a big storm coming. So they were texting about coverage and cancellation and numbers, like who to call if you lose power. So that's a situation where I have a notifications turned off, text messaging allowed. I have like a Walgreens app. I don't have notifications, like they can't email me coupons, like I don't want any of those notification things. They text message me when my prescription's ready. So those are two things that are like timely information that I'm curious about. That, and the reason I'm trying to put it into UB Sports context is, let's say one of our influencers is going live and we have people that have checked, like he's a famous squash guy. he's going live in 15 minutes. I may have all my notifications turned off, but for something like that, I might want to receive a text, at which point I would actually engage and then open up the notification and or the communication. I'm thinking about stuff like that because I definitely look at my text and I turn off my notifications. So I turn off my notifications on everything except like WhatsApp and like to actual text messages. So I check text messages, but I mean, again, if you're saying that's a fringe thing, like maybe that's just a fringe behavior.
Yeah, see, I get the Walgreens thing too, but I
'Cause there's
believe that
action
like
there.
your prescription text, like that's a one-off sign up, like for Walgreens.
Well, that's my
Mhm.
whole thing is, don't you think people on our website would one-off sign up for, you know, if there's like a team component, like I want a text message if there's a change in the schedule, or I want a text message if something really cool is happening on the site that I want to engage in, because I checked that I'm interested in lacrosse. If you don't think it's something that's like,
Yeah,
I'm just trying to say as like a user,
yeah. was
I
just
turn
asking
notifications off
for
because they
example.
annoy me,
So,
but text messages I read.
Well, I think text message takes priority over an notification, because I get notifications from news services and my apps that I don't really care about, like Words with Friends. I get notifications on, but I have my texts for things that people for regular texts. In fact, it sort of bugs me when I get things from like somehow my phone number got on some shared text thing. I get random texts. Do you want a job as a virtual talker or something? And I'm like, no, I didn't never even ask for that. So that sort of annoys me. But if it's something that is directly interesting to me, I'd be very happy to get either. But if I have notifications turned off, I don't get the SMS. I mean, I don't get them.
Here's my question. Is this a decision that we have to make right now? Or is something that when we're 6 months down the line?
The question that's immediate
Yeah.
is how quickly do we want to integrate SMS messaging? Because that was outside the scope of the spec.
Yeah, I see it.
So I'm sure that if we tell the developers that we need the SMS integration now, that's going to change the cost and potentially the delivery timing for the apps.
So I would
So-
say, with that in mind, it is not a priority. And if it's something that we add on 6 months or a year from now, personally, I think that would be fine if that's going to completely derail and or add a bunch of costs.
It won't do that, but the point's well taken, John. We don't really need it out of the box. We can just say,
You
take
don't.
the choice between email and notification. And just know that, you have to, if you're interested in a more real-time response, it's going to have to come from notifications, because it won't be from emails. People don't open up their emails immediately.
I just think it's something that we would have to have an entire marketing plan that would incorporate them. And I don't think we have, that's not necessarily in our phase one of our marketing plan. So I would think it's okay to not necessarily put it in the original scope of work.
My challenge is that the ways we're going to make money out of the box with the apps are going to be from subscriptions from trainers, and the trainers are going to have their own subscribers, and
Okay.
because then it'll actually, we can actually offer that as an additional service. Say $5 for email and native notification services, and $10 if you want also text to be sent out to your people.
Well, if that's the case, like I would love to get a text message that's like reminding me of my appointment with my trainer tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like that's something I would love, as opposed to a notification. I would like a text.
I can see value, and I can see value even in the near term, even in like a second phase.
Yeah, like a March,
you
April
know,
kind
which
of
might
phase.
be
Yeah.
3 months down the road
Yeah.
instead of 6 months or a year. But
Yeah.
from the technical side, you're going to have to set up basically a page on someone's profile just to say, these are the notifications that I want to get. I want to get notifications from my trainer, but not from, you know, all the groups or whatever,
Well, I
or
would
things
assume
like that.
I would assume that's part of people's profile builds. It should be how they want to be
Well,
communicated
well,
with.
correct. But the challenge then to integrate SMS is that there has to be integration developed between whoever the SMS provider is that we choose,
Hmm.
so that when these text messages go back out and someone hits stop on the text message because they don't want to be on the text message chain anymore, that has to come back into our system and feed back into our database that says this person has now turned off SMS notifications
Okay.
for a specific feature. And then if I were to reply to the SMS message, the text message that says stop all, it would turn off all SMS messages. So to me, that's the development challenge that would be put on the development team, is to make that integration. So before they would even be able to scope out the cost and the effort, we would have to have already selected a provider who, number one, can provide all those features and provide us the technical details on how to integrate that into our applications.
That makes sense. Sounds
And
like we have
that's
homework to do.
that's where the development challenge comes in. So I really don't see this as, although I see it as valuable, and I get that, I don't see it as a first phase thing, because you know, you can't even define how much longer, what kind of scope is involved.
Well, so John, that's really helpful. So I think with that being said, and Greg, let me know if you feel differently. It seems like we have to do a little bit of homework on the provider questions.
Okay, so I've been working on that,
Okay.
and I'll share my screen with you guys. This is the guys that were interesting. Said they're made for something like this. So I'll share and I'll show you.
Because John, I guess if we could get to the point where, oops, sorry. Turned on a sound machine by accident.
So they have, this is Tatango. They have, they're built for this kind of stuff. Text message markets are really well. And messaging workflows they have set up. They have opt-in, opt-out. They have subscriber segmenting, so you can say everyone who's interested in squash, that has to be sent out, and they have to be like a VI. Well, you can see it for yourself here.
Got it.
See if I can make it bigger.
But this isn't even really what we're looking at for SMS messaging right now. I mean, from a marketing perspective, that's important to be able to break your demographics up and send text messages to targeted groups of members. I get that. That's even more long-term. What you're talking about is the system saying this member has an event that's occurring, whether it's an invitation to a group, a scheduled event or training session,
Right.
something along those lines, okay, where it's a one-on-one thing. So, you know, what you're looking at here, Greg, is no different than using, you know, MailChimp or something to send out targeted email communications to certain demographic group within your member base.
Sure, it's basically the same thing as something like that, except it's SMSs. So
right. But that's not even what we're looking at for now. You're looking at SMS notifications that, oh, you have a new message. Oh, you have a new friend request. Oh, you have a event that starts in 2 hours. You know, those are the types of messages we're looking at. So, you know, these features from this vendor, you know, a lot of your SMS vendors have things that do this kind of stuff.
right.
And there's a ton of value in that from a marketing perspective. And I don't want to discount that, but that's not even where we're at this point.
Yeah.
You know, we're looking at simple one-off messages to one member because something happened to their account.
Or
They got
send
a message, they got a friend request, they have an event starting in an hour. They need to approve their child doing something, that
Right.
kind of stuff.
Well, then, John, to me, those are notifications. Those are things that people would want to, I think what I guess that I'm confused about is the fact that like the text thing that I would sign up for is if the trainer is using our platform, you know, I might want like doctor's appointments. Like I'm managing so many doctor's appointments with the little one right now. Like I would love it if they would just text me the reminder. You know, so like if people are using it as a service for keeping some type of an appointment, that's the only time I think we would need the text feature.
Well, yeah, like a yoga class or
But I think the rest of it can live in notifications. I think that because the stuff that you're using as examples, John, are definitely notification type things. But I think a
Right.
text reminder to confirm an appointment, like my hair salon
And if
uses it,
we're-
the doctor's appointment uses it.
And if we're in agreement, on that, then, you know, which I think it seems like we're getting to that point where
Yeah.
we have a consensus on that, then like for a trainer, okay, we could build that in on the trainer side so that when a member engages with a trainer on our platform, that's one of the options they get. Do you want to enable text
Yeah.
messaging from this trainer?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a unique thing that's built
Yes.
into the
But I think
training.
it's something that we have to be able to offer. And I don't know if this is part of the conversation or if I'm putting the cart before the horse. So cut me off if I am. I think that if Greg's saying that this is the first way that we're going to be able to make money, and this is a feature that we want to pitch to these trainers, I do think we have to have the ability to do it.
What's going to be interesting is that the trainers right now are doing that by text message anyway on their phones.
Maybe we don't need to pay for it, or maybe it needs to be farther down the line.
Yeah, maybe they won't see as much value in it, but they'll still have the option to do the native notifications and emails through UB Sports. And that's part of what we already have going for us.
Okay, so it sounds like we're landing on let's maybe do it next reiteration, or am I misreading this?
No, I think we can definitely wait until we get started and then add it on. You know, once they launch the site in 3 months, we'll have more control over what's going on. And, you know, John or whoever is doing that part of the coding and the site management are going to be taking care of that. They can like add in that API.
And then also maybe we can get a better feel from the trainers and these people that are actually signing up to our sites, how they would use it, and then make a business decision based on those facts.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, hold on 1 second. I have a call here. Hold on. Hello. Hi, this is Greg. Uh-huh. Yep. I'll be ready in about a half hour. Cool. Excellent. That'd be great. Great. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. Transmission issue.
Well, sounds like this call's not going to last. Sounds like our call's not going to last
Well,
more than a
I
half
pretty much
hour.
only
So-
have 15 to 20
okay,
more minutes, so that's perfect for me.
Okay,
Okay, so I think we're
SMS
planning on
messaging
that SMS.
can be a future, it can be a future phase. It seems like we're in agreement that we're not necessarily going to use it for all types of notifications, but we will integrate it with specific functionality within the site, such as communications from your trainers, maybe for events, we offer SMS, so on the page where if you think of a page where you go in and here's all your notification preferences. Do you want notifications on or off? Do you want them by push notification or email? And then there might be one or two out of that list of 50 things that have SMS capable,
Yes.
trainer communication, events, like live events.
Yeah.
You might want the
Yep.
SMS.
That's how I see
Okay,
it.
so to me, it would seem that we certainly have some legwork to define what is really going to be relevant to the use or what's going to be able to take advantage of the SMS messaging.
Yeah, that's
within
valuable
our
to the
platform.
members.
Yep.
Okay, now, to me, this doesn't seem like it's an immediate phase, but if the developers know that this is in a future phase, but probably like a phase 2, not a phase 3 or 4, like it'll be the next wave, which gives us time to find a vendor, kind of define our plan, et cetera. That would be valuable because the developers will know that it's coming. And for
Perfect.
example, when they do the layouts for those pages where you define your communication preferences, they know they're going to need this extra column, let's say, for SMS on certain things.
Right.
It's not just everything. It's going to be very specific items.
Yeah. I think that you just summed it up perfectly.
Yeah, you might even we might even be able to slip it into this iteration. Just have another column that says SMS coming in the future, so that people know that that's going to be
Yeah,
coming.
it could be like a checkbox. It could be
Yeah.
a checkbox, and it could be
Yeah.
grayed out where you can't really click it or something.
Or would you be interested
Yes.
in this in the future? And that way we'll get a real indication of interest. No, you know, like that.
No,
I don't think
because
we want
it's
to ask
clear
people
that-
too many questions. Like the people stop clicking things if they get asked. Like you have to come up with what their breaking point is.
All right. That's true.
Like I think if we don't offer it, we can't have it. I even think graying it out's a bad idea because I just think it looks like it's broken and people are going to get frustrated.
Well, that's my thought would be if you
But I
say
think-
SMS,
I think
text
from a
message
development
in the future.
perspective, if the developers know that this is coming in the next phase or something,
I
when
couldn't
they
agree
build
more.
those screens, they can build it in such a way that adding it is not going to be a major effort.
No, I think that John, I think that sounds like a perfect plan. I do. It's
Okay.
always good to give them a heads up because I think that to John's point,
He has no
if
choice.
they can build something that it's going to slot in a lot easier from the beginning of the development, why wouldn't we tell them as much as we can?
Right.
Agreed.
All right, I feel really good about that.
Okay, good. So that's good. It's something that we're thinking about for the future. That's good. Excellent. All right, cool. All right, settled. Done.
Crushed it.
Okay, John, what's our next issue?
We needed to talk about deep linking into the mobile apps. So for example, if you get an email and you open it on your laptop or desktop computer, you open it on a computer or potentially a tablet or something like that, it's going to take you to the website. It'll ask you to log in if it's a secured page. If it's a public page, like an announcement of a live event,
Sure.
you don't have to log in necessarily. But for the most part, you'll click the link, whatever you're promoting, and you'll land on a page on the website that has all the details about whatever it is you're promoting, okay? In the mobile side, if you have an app installed on your tablet or phone, excuse me, and you get the text message or email or the push notification, instead of just taking you to the login screen of the app, remember the app none of the apps are going to have any public pages. You have to log into the app to do anything.
Right.
Okay. So when you click that link, it's going to automatically open the app. And instead of just landing on your regular homepage and then forcing you to navigate to your notifications to find that information, it'll take you directly to the content that you are promoting.
Okay.
That's called deep linking. And I did not see, Greg, when we last spoke to the developers, they were not sure whether deep linking was within scope or not. And they were supposed to follow up with that answer.
Seems
I've
like
not
something we
seen that
want.
answer. It does seem like it's something you want and that you would want right away.
I
And I
agree.
can't imagine that their answer back to us is going to be anything but, oh yeah, deep linking is built into it. And I think when, I forget who it was, but one of the, project manager guys asked one of the architect or developer guys, said, what's the impact? And they're like, I don't know, it takes like 2 or 3 days to build in the deep linking,
Yeah.
which is nothing. That should all be within the scope. So we were going to identify whether deep linking is something we needed right away, or whether it was something that could wait for that second phase. I believe that we could potentially wait if we needed to. If they said, well, this 2 or 3 days of extra work is going to blow our timeline and push us into April instead of mid-March or whatever. But I don't see that happening. It should, like any mobile app should really allow for deep linking.
I feel like it's important that we have that.
It's critical to me.
I believe so. I
I
believe
think
so
from a
too.
functionality and the use and making us look professional. And also, I cannot tell you how many times when I've had to click on something and it went to an app and it didn't load right. Like I have clicked right off of it because you've lost me already. So I think that we're obviously trying to like deeply engage people right off the start. And I think any extra steps that we're adding would be bad and detract. So I would say that that's a priority.
I totally agree.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're
But I think, John,
promoting you're promoting some live event from some speaker. So I click the link to find out more, to register for the event or something. And like, I click it, I go in the app and I'm like, okay, so where is it? Where do I find it?
Yeah, you don't want to
It's
have
like,
to. But I think you're trying to
No.
see that you had asked Greg to double check that that's part of the scope and we have not heard back from them. Is that what you were following up on?
We didn't ask Greg. We asked the developers to let us know what the impact was of having deep linking in this scope of the first phase.
Yeah. And
So I think the bottom line is that we all seem to agree that it is something we want.
Yeah, I think it's
immediately.
critical.
Okay, I don't know how much, I view the first month or two after launch at our efforts are really going to be focused, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think our focus is really going to be to build membership,
Yeah.
not to necessarily promote an event or promote a sport or promote a tennis racket. Like that's not going to be our immediate goal. Our immediate goal is to build membership. So what are you going to be linking to? You're going to be linking to sign-up pages.
Well, I do
Right.
think if we're trying to build our membership by promoting an event, that might be a little bit different than what you're saying. So for instance, like if we're trying to build and attract more members by having a really cool event, then I would say that's critical for the beginning. So like, for instance, like you're trying to entice the greater squash community by having like a really cool speaker and you're email blasting it out or however we're going to do it. That is event-based membership expanding. That's how I would see it. I think that might actually be pretty critical to our beginning. But again, we'd have
The
to
bottom
have
line
these.
is that this is something we need now, and really
Yeah, I
the
think
answer
so.
remains, Greg, as to whether it was within scope, and if it's not, what is the impact to the scope and the delivery time?
And John, I think we would rely on your expertise in the sense that if this is something that's standard, like deep linking seems to be something that I didn't know what it was called, but obviously I know what it is. But if that's something that you think should be in a basic package, I think we have to push for that being part of the scope of work.
yeah, actually, I'm in the middle of writing a text, and that's what I'm telling them, that we will need, no question, we'll need the deep linking.
Well, don't write that yet, Greg.
Wait, hold
because
on.
We
Yeah.
should reply. We should reply with responses to the three things that we had to follow up on, which
Yeah.
was the SMS, the deep linking, and then there were some SEO type things that we want to talk about yet.
Right.
So don't write your reply just yet.
Okay,
Okay.
so we're on to deep linking is a yes. We want that.
Yeah, we want that now. We need that now. It's important to our efforts.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
One thing is notifications are sort of standard on cell phones, but I've only seen a few sites offer notifications on your laptop or on your computer.
That's more common though. I mean, I go to a lot of
Yeah.
websites and it says, do you want to allow this
Well,
website to
the
send you
reason-
notifications?
The reason people don't want notifications coming up on their computers and like why I proactively turn it off is that I will never forget when I was working at the NHL, somebody's laptop got plugged in for the commissioner's speech to the entire company. And these like raunchy text messages, he forgot to shut off his notifications, were coming up on his computer. So like it was projected to the entire company and we all read the text messages. So like I think people pretty much proactively anyone that's going to ever use your laptop in a presentation type manner, like what Greg just did with Zoom, like if you have notifications popping up, like we can all see them.
Yeah.
So I would say most people on computers and laptops turn that stuff off. At least
There was actually recently a commercial, and I forget what company it was, but you see a bunch of athletes, like some famous athletes, sitting around a table with somebody doing a presentation. And the guy's doing the presentation and then says, hold on, it has to click off the notification. And it has to click, it was like 10 of them came in and they were all about one of the athletes sitting at the table. And it was like, so I forget what company it was, but that's the exact same thing that you're
so
talking
that's
about.
why
So, I
most
mean,
people you're all of these features translate between tablets, laptops, and devices. People just usually turn them off on their computers because they don't want it to be public.
Yeah, exactly. The phones, they tend to leave them on or ask for them.
Well, because you're holding it and you're looking at your own screen.
Right.
Whereas like again, if you accidentally share in a Zoom and you're getting text messages about somebody else on the Zoom, it's awkward.
Right. So you need your ability in your set of preferences, whether you want notifications on your phone or your laptop, or you want.
No, you don't offer the laptop notifications. That gets built into the site. And when you navigate to the site, you get the little pop-up that says, do you want to allow this site to send
Right.
you notifications? Yes or no?
Right.
So it's not a preference page. It's a browser-based thing because not all browsers support notifications from websites.
Yes.
So you
Correct.
can't offer it through like a profile preference and say, do you want laptop notification? That's not, you can't do that.
Nobody does. So I think that I don't really think people want that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
So I'm
so
running low on time. So what else? I know we have a third topic to cover.
SEO, and the way I've discussed this with the developers to this point is we will have a basic Google Analytics account set up. We will actually have two different accounts, so two ID numbers. One ID is for the production website and the production apps.
Okay.
The other is used when you're in a non-production environment. So when you're in development or testing or staging or something like that, if you make changes to the way your analytics are tracking, you can view that the analytics on that account are working properly without affecting your production analytics.
Okay.
So that's number one, is we're going to have it separated that way.
Seems really smart.
I also told them that we absolutely want basic page views from all of the pages, every single page in the website, to have page view analytics capture, that someone has viewed that page. We will want to set up some custom events such that if somebody clicks this particular button, to sign up, we're going to have some custom events. We may even have 1 or 2 custom funnels, for example, from the sign up page, where we might want to track the source that it came in and that the sign up that they converted.
Okay.
Or that they did not convert.
Okay.
That they fell off at that point. So those are the very basic elements. And the third thing that I told them was going to be important to us is in the videos, we will want to do custom tracking in the videos.
Totally.
So that as a video plays, we're going to know, we have to determine what percentages, but we'll, for example, set it up that we'll trigger an event when 25% of the video is watched, when 50% is watched,
Okay.
when 75%. So you'll have it over time. You'll know that this video nobody ever gets past 50% of this video. Let's stop promoting this video.
Got it. I think all that sounds important.
Well, instead of
And
having
I
tags,
think from a marketing perspective, what's that? What?
we don't really need to have things that go off at 25% and 50%. We just say what percentage of this video has been watched, and leave it up to the analytics program to tell us what percentage average has happened.
You have to put your code for the site and the video player has to trigger that event to go to Google Analytics.
Okay.
So when, like, your player, JW player, whatever player we choose, will say, oh, I'm now at 25%, and it has something behind it that says, track that in Google. So we know that 25% was watched, which video, 25%,
Okay.
et cetera. And for all intents and purposes, when I worked for ad agencies, we always considered 95% of a video viewed as being a complete view.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
typically your last 5%, especially like where a lot of my work was in the pharmaceutical world, that last 5% of the
It's just
video
like
is all the fine print. And
right.
people
clicked
click
it
off. So you never realistically ever had 100% of the video being viewed. So, we'll have to come up with what our threshold is.
But you're
But
saying that
normally-
we need this.
I think
I
that
think we definitely do.
I definitely agree.
And these are all simple events. You just trigger an event that gets captured, and it's no different than a click event, a page view event, et cetera. These are basic events that should be built into the system from the get-go. If you ever try to add these kind of things later, it's a tedious process because you have to go through like all of your code, every page, all of that stuff. So the real question in front of us right now is, given that this has been the explanation and needs that I've explained to them at this point, is are there any other kind of marketing analytics that we would need immediately? And to paraphrase that, over time, we're going to see that, well, we really need to track more analytics about people signing up or registering for events.
Right. Traffic.
We really need to see some more information about how many people are engaging with a trainer and using the IM feature to communicate with their trainer.
Right.
How many people are using the video chat feature with a trainer? Okay, so I can see that we can grow into that as we have needs, things of that nature. The question again is, what else do we need right away as far as analytics, marketing analytics that we need besides simple events, some basic funnels like for sign up, and page views?
I definitely time on site and time on page are really important for the investors. So those are two things that are important.
And then I would say, but I think you touched on them. So I'm not, there's nothing coming to mind right now that we haven't covered, because I think that trying to take this a step further about who we would be pitching to, how we would be pitching, and how we'd be selling, if we're capturing those analytics, I think that's what we need right off the start.
Yeah, and also I think the traffic flow is really important to see what people are clicking on when they get to the main screen. Are they clicking on a video? Are they clicking on bulletins? Are they clicking on, you know, the blogs from the Olympic athletes? You know, what are they interested in? And that'll help us determine where we should be spending our money and where we should be, you know, beefing up.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think you get that with the basic page views. I mean, you know, if you ever think of some of your more advanced sites like Amazon, for example, excuse me, if you navigate through Amazon and you want to look at you want to look at a product that you purchased in the past, you know, because they're always saying buy it again, right? They say buy this again. If you click it from this image here, or you go into your orders page and you click buy it again from the list of things that you've ordered in the past, Amazon tracks that differently. Another way to think of it is, let's say you have a navigation menu. So if I go into, at the top, we have, you know, UB Universe. So if I click UB Universe from that top nav, but you have some page somewhere else on the site that promotes UB Universe, and they go in, they click that to get to UB Universe, you might want to know what's the best way to promote it. Is the menu getting people to go there, or is it this page that's getting people to go there?
Right.
So those things I see that are things that we will discover, that we want to identify as the site gets used and as we have more experience on the site. You know, we're going to say, okay, we have so many people going into this portion of the site. How are they getting there? Is it important for us to modify our navigation in the future? Well, what are the big things that we get off, you know, that people are using on the navigation? So we'll want to track clicks off the navigation into certain sections versus, you know, clicking a video link because you happen to have the video links down on the bottom of the homepage.
Yeah, I think that seems like all the what you're mentioning. I mean, is that considered in their original scope?
I don't think that detailed analytics is part of it. I think what we can get is, and the way they've described it, is the basic analytics, which I would consider page views and a couple handfuls of events. You know, that people have clicked these particular items.
Thanks for that.
That kind of thing. So that's the basic stuff, and that I think is included. I think if we get more detailed, certainly we would have to tell them types of things we track, but of course that's more work on their end. I don't think that's part of the scope.
All right, so I think we need another discussion with the guys as to what they're planning on delivering on the analytics dashboard and the SEO dashboard. I think we need to find out exactly what they're planning on delivering, and then if we're missing things like custom funnels and custom events, we need to add that onto their list.
Perfect. So it seems like we have a list of some kind of follow-up questions for them. We can get their answers back. Then why don't the three of us regroup again, and we'll figure out what's a priority and what's worth paying for if we have to.
Okay.
Does that work?
John, do you want to produce that list, or do you want me to? What do you want to do?
I will follow up in Slack to their last comment on the spec.
Okay.
I should not be the one writing the list because it will not sound professional.
I mean, I'll write something up and say, you know, we had 3 takeaways from the last time we talked.
Right.
That we needed to come back to you with, and here's our feedback. This is what we need. This is what we expect to be in the initial deliverable, and this is stuff that we need for the future.
Right.
So I'll write it up based on what we've talked about.
All right.
Perfect.
That's great.
Awesome.
Before you send it to them, and I'll let's just make sure we're on the exactly the same page. that we didn't forget something someplace.
Yeah, I can kind of let you look at it first before I post it out on Slack.
Cool, thank you.
Awesome. Well, guys, I hate to run, but the little man just perked up.
Yeah, and I got to go see my transmission person.
He's looking at me like, where the heck are you? But it was really nice to catch up and just keep me posted. Greg, just text me if we need to jump back on a Zoom.
All right, well, John, thank you very
All right,
much for watching for that thing.
Yep.
What'd you
You
say?
guys have a happy new year.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
Happy New Year, guys.
Talk to you later.
This was fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.